To see you all. So the basic idea is today to talk a little bit about the plans for the training courses this year. I don't have to tell you that the situation is very challenging. I would like to start with briefly telling you what we planned on doing and maybe also give some reasoning for it. And then I would actually like to quickly cover the plan for the whole year. And then I would propose that we kind of discuss each of the courses we planned and get your feedback for it. Let's try to be brief. So as you all know, we should have this year we should have a vascular course, a functional and trauma course, and a spine course. And the special situation, I think you're aware of that, was that since we didn't have the May and summer course in 2020 due to the pandemic, we missed vascular and spine. And the idea would be to combine two courses for vascular and spine this year, which would actually require us to have a 500 people course or 440, 460, depending on the exact numbers. And the plan, I'm trying to do this very hardly because the pressure, if you will, from the countries to include new trainees is strong, which I agree. And if we would not do any courses, or if we would not double the courses, it would be quite clear that we could not admit new trainees for at least a year, which would obviously be a problem because people are going to continue their training and a significant proportion will not actually end up going to the course. So my plan would be to, if it works, to have two big courses in 2021 and one regular course. So the plan that VC and also the NS office, particularly Valentini, have put up, and VC did obviously the organizing work for all of this, was to have the first course in Valencia end of June. Again, I'll briefly talk about this in a minute. This would be vascular, and this would be planned to be a double course with 400 something up to 500 trainees and obviously us faculty. And the plan would be to hold it in a large conference center so that the distancing is possible, and to have the trainees and faculty in probably 2-3 hotels. So it will be different from what we intend to have, like everything in one location, very close, very intimate, if you will. I guess this will not be possible this year. Also, I hope we will come back to that in the future. Then the second course that is planned would be in Thessaloniki, August 22nd to 25th, if I have the dates correct in my mind. This would be a normal one single course. It's functional and trauma. That course would be only with the regular 200 something people, and then the final course would be spine again, and we decided to try to go to Valencia again for November to have the spine course there in the same setup, up to 500 trainees, faculty and in the conference center, and obviously people in the accommodation in a few hotels, because obviously we couldn't fit them in one. So this is the broad overview. Coming to the most difficult issue, and I would like to get some feedback from you all. The problem will be that as of now, obviously traveling is quite restricted, and still I would be very strong in trying to have a course in Valencia end of June. The reason being is that I'm not that I'll start differently. The reason being that if we, from this point of view of the conference center is large enough to actually be filled at a 50% rate, and we would still all fit in there. And the restrictions are planned to be reduced with like a green pass for Spain early June, 1st of June. So that it's very likely, as far as we know now, obviously difficult to predict, that we will all be able to go to Spain without having to be in quarantine or anything there. The more difficult issue is potentially when returning back home, that people may not be able to go or may have to quarantine afterwards. I'm still quite positive that with the numbers now and vaccination, that particularly for us, because all of us faculty, I would assume, and actually all the trainees I've talked to, all of them are vaccinated, because all the medical personnel has been vaccinated in all the countries I've talked to. And so I think that the chances are quite good. I'm expecting probably about 30%, 40% of trainees and maybe faculty not being able to come. And this would leave us with let's say 300 people instead of 480 or 500, which I would still very much consider worthwhile trying and going for, simply because that would allow us to put in new trainees and have new residents in the course. I'm not that sure, if I look at last year, but this is only a wild guess, obviously, that late summer or even October, November may be so much easier. It may well be that we get a fourth wave if vaccination is not through, and that fall may not be easier than it is now. And I would think that early summer may actually be one of the best chances to go for. So that's why my plan would be to have the course in Valencia, and if it's and to start with a very limited version, let's say only science, no social events. And if it means that we only meet in the conference halls and go to our hotel rooms afterwards, which, as you all know, I'm very unhappy with, because I enjoy the social part of this. But if that's the way we have to do it, then I'm very happy to go that way, to have our trainees taken care of. If at the time we will be able to have a dinner in an open space in Valencia, on the outside, in outside restaurants, I think we can try to organize this. Probably, as I talked to Pablo just recently, maybe a couple of weeks before, if the situation is well enough. If not, we will just do the science and just do the course and not do anything else. So this would be the plan as of now. And now I'm happy to listen to your comments, and we can talk about the other two courses later on. Program, I sent around the program. It's pretty much the same program we had planned for Evian, with some minor changes depending on changes in the TC and some of the local guys. I would expect that not all the faculty would be able to go to Valencia, and not all the TC members may also not be able to go. So that I know that we will have to adapt on short notice and maybe swap talks around, get some new people in or whatsoever. And this may reduce the quality, I'm aware of that, but I think the course has been running very well in the past, and I think we will still be good enough under these circumstances. Okay, now I've said enough. Comments from maybe also VC or Pablo or Valentini, you want to start, and then I'm happy to hear everybody's comments.
From my side, I have nothing to say. I'm just hoping to organize the event in June. I'm just looking for social events as well, for venues. And I will make some bookings in case we can organize nowadays. I mean, it's not possible to organize any social events, this is true, but I believe Valencia is one of the cities that things are changing very fast. I think they have a good, a lower number of nowadays of people with COVID and things. So I believe I'm optimist a little bit. So I think let's see what happens in a few weeks' time or something. But I think they are now. It's true that it's challenged because even we cannot have any coffee break and lunches at the venue. But the venue just told me that they are expecting things that will change in 1 week or two. But it's true that it could change to a better situation later on. It could be worse. So, you know, this is very unpredictable. So let's see what happens. But I'm just trying to make some social event as well to keep to have some bookings as well. So in case we can organize it, and let's see what happens.
We see Claudius, if I can just say hello to everyone and just comment that when I was asked by Vici and Claudius to help with this issue, the numbers here in our community in Valencia were quite difficult at that time, but we made a big effort, and now the numbers are pretty good, and the situation has changed a lot. And I do believe that if the numbers keep similar to the curve that has been being drawn in the last weeks, we could do something safe, healthy, in a let's call it safe environment. I know that place, the meeting area, it's huge. It's open to many gardens. So I know Vici has been doing a great job arranging this stuff. And I'm at your disposal if you think we must go on and the situation is good. I will be working from my side to make it happen.
Florian, you want to start?
Yeah, I would like to support your plans. I think it's reasonable to go on now. We can't wait until the moment that everybody can travel, of the trainees and the faculty. And I think at that point of time, we can expect that there will be sufficient faculty able to travel to Valencia to deliver a decent course with a sufficient quality or high quality. And we all know that it's not going to be back to normal, but it's going to be better than no course. And we have to find the point to start again. And I think this is a good timing now, and a good in Valencia where you can spend a lot of time outside, except the classes. So I would like to support the plan to go on.
Thanks. Marcel, you are next on.
Thank you, Claudius. First of all, thank you very much for pushing to go ahead with this course. I think it is very important. We missed last year, and the trainees are growing up, so that's really important for them to attend personally. Now, talking about social events, I think this is a very important part of this course. And the trainees, they will be already in the same room. They will be in a big lecture hall together. They'll be all in the same restaurant having breakfast. So I don't think it will make a big difference having some social event with the same trainees. So personally, I would really push to go ahead with the social events as well, if possible, because I mean, it is the same bubble of people who will be staying in the same room for 5 days.
Marcel, if I can comment to this, I agree with you. And I would very much like to have at least an outside dinners, because Valencia is perfect for this end of June, obviously. But I also think we should not do it now, since we don't know how much we can do. And we should keep it safe and make sure that we deliver a safe course complying with the regulations. But I agree with you. I'm quite optimistic that maybe end of May or early June, we will see that at least in the an open air dinner event will be possible. So I'm grateful to hear that. I exactly believe believe in it the same way as you do. But I think we have to wait a little longer to make that final decision.
And on the same issue, I mean, what I would suggest maybe to run some monkey survey among the trainees, just to get a feel about how many of them will be able to attend or willing to attend or allowed to attend by the hospital or country regulation. It will be easy to send a survey. Probably 90% will respond, and we'll have some kind of feel about, same for trainees and for the faculty, how many will be willing or able to attend this kind of course.
It's a good idea. I thought about it, and then I kind of said I would rather not do it, simply because many people will be reluctant. And what do we do if we only get 200 people saying they would come? Are we going to say, well, then it's financially not feasible? It's difficult. It's difficult. But let's go on. I think Vincent was the next, if I remember correctly. Can you unmute yourself, Vincent?
Yeah, I was on mute, sorry. Yes, I was saying that for me, it also makes sense to move forward because it's been a long time since we haven't any course. And as you said, it's important to include new students and to keep on giving courses. I also support the idea of outside events because, as we know, most of us will have vaccine, and as we know that the virus has a poor rate of transmission when we are outside, and the students will be all together in rooms, in breakfast rooms and something like that. And Valencia is really a good place for that. And also probably June will be a good timing because it will be the opening. And after, we don't know what will happen after the opening. We know if there's a new wave in autumn, it would be also difficult. So I would support both the idea of the location, the timing, and the idea to do the best as we can. Of course, include all the courses in the convention center and try to adapt as it is possible to do the best social and to promote outside events.
Okay, thanks a lot. Nikos?
Firstly, I would like to support the plan. And of course, I will back up the course in Thessaloniki. I want to raise the issue of hybrid solution. I don't like it. I have the feeling that I'm going to open the Pandora's box, although I think that we have to consider not for the faculty. So I believe that the faculty has to be there. If they cannot be there, we have to manage between people who will be there. But maybe some of the attendants of our residents cannot come. And in that case, due to travel restrictions, in that case, I will offer them a hybrid solution, only for those.
Nikos, I like the idea. I've obviously thought about this as well. I am very reluctant for two reasons. One reason being that if we offer that solution, also many chairmen and many other people will say, well, they also have a virtual, you don't need to go there. And it will if they have to go in person, I think more people will be allowed to. I think that's just the way it is. Secondly, quite often those solutions are very expensive. And many of the sessions, like the discussion groups, depend on interaction at the site. So to have this only for the lectures may be an option, yes, but I don't know about the extra costs. I would rather prefer, but that's then up to Vakis in the future, to if there are a bigger number of people that can't come, I would then try to postpone them maybe to 2022 and have a little bigger courses next year. But this is my personal belief. But we can also do a voting on this. But I'm reluctant to, even though I know that your idea is not bad. But Magnus, you wanna comment? I think the Scandinavians probably have the hardest time. This what I hear from them.
Yeah, I support the idea, and I would really like to come. I have a question. What is the rules in Spain at the moment, and has there been any similar meetings?
VC, you want to comment on that? You know the rules best, I think.
Well, rules now rules. It depends of the place that you live. In Valencia, you can organize the meeting. It's allowed to organize meetings for this size. In this size of people, for 500 people. It's true that after 10 o'clock you cannot go out. You have to stay in the hotel but according to Valencia, it is allowed to organize a meeting. It is not possible to have coffee breaks and lunches at the venue now. But according to the regulation in Valencia, we can organize the meeting for 500 people. We have to have masks, all of us, it's true, but it's the only thing. And also the capacity of the meeting rooms is 50% now.
And what about, sorry, VC, but what about the rules to travel to Valencia? What about
the rules to travel?
Entrance rules, yeah.
I think that you have to have a PCR, or the only thing, but I don't think there are many regulations only to have this. This you don't have to have any quarantine and anything.
Okay.
Maybe I can also quickly comment. I was also surprised to hear that actually we could have the course now, even though now it's most likely to be worse than end of June, as far as we know now. And I traveled to Spain actually 5 weeks ago for a meeting. And entry was not a problem at all. You only needed a negative test and you needed to register yourself online. And then there was no quarantine whatsoever. And most likely this will stay the same way, but maybe Pablo, you know more?
Well, nowadays it's as VC and you have perfectly explained about the tourism, the Ministry of Tourism is creating a law and they expect to implement it from June the 1st. And the idea is obviously we need to open tourism. One more summer without tourism would be terrible for our country. And that's why they are creating this rule, this law about the green card, about the vaccination. In that green card, you need a vaccination or a PCR, negative PCR, or proving that you have been sick, you have past the COVID. So with these 3 points, you are free to enter in Spain without any quarantine. And we don't know what will happen with the countries once you come back to your place. But at that time, in June, for sure, they expect to have this green card system open, completely open, which will make things easier. And I have the feeling that this will be good to promote for our faculty and students that this is going to be a safe environment.
Magnus, you're happy with that?
Hello, everybody.
Very good answer, I think. I'm happy with that.
Well, the problem is also transfers, because we are not sure. There are no direct flights to Valencia, at least from my country. So, you know, it will be the worst thing possible if we are stopped in the middle of the road, having all the intentions to come. And
that's obviously correct. And there's a residual risk from my traveling to Spain, as I said, 5 weeks ago. It's more cumbersome and you may have to go through a different route that you normally do. But I would be very confident that this will be managed by I mean, I just saw it that, I don't know if you've heard it on the news, that Germans were allowed to go to Mallorca for Easter. And within 2 weeks, they had hundreds of flights available, the airline companies. So I think there's a remaining risk. We don't know yet, but I'm confident that through the big hubs, we will be able to go to Valencia.
Well, Claudius, I'm prepared to be arrested for it, as long as you are not doing it online. Thank you.
Okay, Michael.
Hello, everybody. I will be happy to see all of you in Valencia on the 20th. But nevertheless, I think that we have to think to a plan B. If the regulation moves, if the virus is more present, postponing to 22 is maybe not a good option for me. And it's for what I'm maybe more in favor of an hybrid solution. The interest also of an hybrid solution is that people on site have more benefit to be on site with a local meeting that cannot be organized with the hybrid solution. But the other thing is that it allows also to accept all residents coming from everywhere in Europe. And I think that the ANS should at some point think a way to accept all the residents. I'm now responsible for selecting the ones in Belgium who can come or not. I make an order of preference. It's a pity to do that. When I have to say to a resident, we send me a mail every month, oh, can I do the ENS course? I have to say, no, sorry, no place. I think, especially since also there is an exam at the end of the training, a European exam, all residents should have the possibility, the opportunity to attend the course anyway.
May I interrupt? I agree with you that we should be able to take in more. That has been a long-standing discussion. But I would postpone that discussion to 2022 because our main problem now is to get to, yes, I agree with you.
The hybrid solution is a way to enlarge the possibilities as we want.
But the hybrid solution will stop the true spirit of the course. But and I know my fellow chairman, they will say, oh, you can do this online. You don't need to. You can go on call Wednesday night, and I will have my residents there. I think this is the wrong way to go. I apologize, but we will lose the spirit and it's also good not to have everybody there. Not because I don't like everybody there, but it has to be hard to get in. People have to want to go in. And I agree that it may be best to have maybe three quarters of residents. But if I look at Germany, a very big country with too many neurosurgeons, they have so many on the waiting list that they are extremely eager to go in. But it's tough. But Claudia wanted to say something. Claudia, go.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So it's the first time I'm joining this trainee committee. Previously, it was António Cereja from Portugal. You all remember him. And I would like to say that I agree with the mixed training. I think EANS has to continue training the trainees. That's obvious. So the pandemic cannot stop that. That is for sure. But since we don't know what is going to happen, and particularly if we think that we will have to eventually quarantine after we come back from the meeting ourselves or the students or the trainees, I agree. I totally agree that we would have a plan B with a mixed meeting would be a good idea. We would be more inclusive. We don't need to have all the students, but I think we would be inclusive. We probably would have more speakers and it would be a way to, if the pandemic goes worse for the next months, the training would happen anyways. That I agree with Michael and Nicolaus suggestions of having a mixed meeting. That's my opinion.
Thanks for that. I would what we can do is Bakis, I'll let you talk in a second, but what we can do is we can because this is going to be difficult to discuss this here, but we can send around an email and I will ask for everybody to give feedback on whether to have a virtual or a hybrid meeting this time. I have to admit that I could think of it for this year. To be honest, our plan B was or is, if it's not possible, to have both training courses in Valencia in November together, both vascular and spine, obviously with potentially different faculty. This was our plan B, to be honest, as the way it works right now, I'm not even sure that November is going to be so much better than end of June. I actually think it may be the other way around. It may be that November is worse than end of June. I'm not absolutely sure, depending on how quick vaccination goes, but we'll see. For the general meeting, I mean, it's going to be up to Vakis in the future, but I'm 100% against a later hybrid course. Also to have hybrid faculty there, that's exactly what is contrary to our, I don't need the best lecturer to be there for 20 minutes on a screen. I want the best European neurosurgeons there in contact with our trainees and to fulfill the spirit we have. So I would be very, very strongly against future hybrid courses. I would consider it if the majority of the TC considers it for this year, but my plan B would be having both courses in person in November and probably dragging some trainees to 2022, because then it will be Vakis who is in charge. Vakis, you wanted to say something.
Right. Hi, sorry, I was a bit late, but I mean, I fully agree with you. I think hybrid, it should be only for emergencies, and that's why I made a suggestion. Maybe for some fourth years, if we end up having to postpone again, and they were meant to be finishing almost a year ago, and you know they get into the jobs and what have you, and they may not be as available to come, let's say in 2022, to do a course. But that would be the exception rather than the rule. I mean, I agree with you that we should, you know, the value of the ANS course is not just to listen to, you know, 10 lectures or whatever. Very difficult to replicate discussion groups online. At least the experience from the university teaching, at least, you know, at my end, has been very disappointing. You know, you don't see students, you know, you cannot interact, you cannot ask them questions, you know, tutorials end up being lectures. And I think that's really not the way to go.
I agree. Nikolai want to raise his hand, and maybe Valentini, you want to comment, because I'm also worried about the costs, that if we do go for a hybrid solution, if it's supposed to be a good solution, I'm afraid this is gonna be not cheap. And but maybe Valentini, you can comment on that, or Nikolai, you want to go first? Valentini first, and then Nikolai. Is that okay?
Okay. First of all, yes, the hybrid solution is possible. Yes, it is going to imply costs to put it together. But if you don't believe, the thing is that the hybrid culture is going to be here and it will stay with us in the meetings. If the training committee does not believe in this option or does not want to adopt it for the future, I think you shouldn't make a start at all. It just, we have to follow and support our story that we do the training courses physical for specific reasons, and we have to be telling this story because we will be looking and sounding old-fashioned in a very short time, because the hybrid element is going to be part of the meetings from now on after the COVID pandemic. So if you do not believe in it, or if you do not want to kind of open up this chapter, I would suggest not to start it at all, to be honest with you. Like, stay with a smaller training course, maybe under limitations, but continue the tradition. And this is a suggestion on my side, the way I see it, because if you do it now, you will have to keep it forever.
Valentini, I agree very much with your comment. And because if I see my trainees and my residents, fellows, they all are in online hybrid solutions now. And it is very different to what they've had in the past. And even though they do it and they learn something, then our course will be the same as every other course, which it is not now. Nikolai.
Thank you, Claudius. First, I think that I absolutely support the idea against a hybrid solution, except in an emergency. You can remember we've had these discussions so many times. And if you imagine what killed the CNS courses is exactly that. We can do as many webinars as we want with the top experts of Europe. All sections can give a webinar in whatever we want, but the spirit, you said it, the soul of these courses have been the contact with the teacher, the discussion group, the breakout sessions. So better have less trainees, but continue to have the courses in the way that we have them, rather than if we go to a hybrid solution, we cannot go back and we have to change the format of the course in a totally different perspective. And maybe we cannot go back to what have been before. And up till now, we have been very, very successful. And the reason that we have been very successful is precisely the courses that we have led the way we have led them, not online, not in these things. Secondly, I agree with you. If you look, for example, last year, summer is the time that the virus reduces. So June might be the only option. We can't say November or October what will happen. So I also absolutely support the idea that we go for this course and we'll see what happens if traveling is possible. But for example, in Bulgaria, we have below 9% in the last days, and numbers dropped from 20 to 10. We'll see what happens in other countries, but I think that we expect in summer numbers to drop. So I support you fully that we should try doing a course with as many trainees as would come, and we should continue the way we have done it up till now.
Thanks, Nikolai. Lucas, you wanted to comment? You're still on mute.
Yes, hi Claudius, hi everybody. Greetings from Belgrade. Well, my considerations are that in June, things will not be so relaxing for traveling for different parts of the Europe. And maybe your proposal that to have both courses in November is much more closer to reality, I would say, if we think to consider, if we consider to organize them in person. I mean, since I'm also not very in favor of hybrid options of the meetings, and this is a very particular course which, in my opinion, should stay physical, in person. But I'm afraid what will happen in June, but since all meetings in June, what used to be planned for June, are postponed in Europe and all over the world. Just so far that I know, just to maybe give a comment.
I'm aware of that, Lucas, and you're right. I'm just, if I look at my schedule, I have, I think, 25 courses or conferences from September to November. And I think that time may be much more a problem than it is now.
Another problem, yes.
I'm not absolutely sure, but I think the majority, if I can conclude that, the majority says try for Valencia end of June, and see how many people can come. I will talk to Valentini about the possibilities of hybrid solutions, and maybe as a backup plan or plan B, as it was suggested. Maybe we can get an offer from a company on how much that will be. If we would try to find a solution like that, I would not put it out there now that this is something we are planning. I would want to look into it if this is an emergency option that we can pull in time, if that's okay. And but as I said, I'm rather reluctant to go for it. And to have a monkey survey, I'd rather not. But I'll also talk to the office whether we're going to do this. We will have a meeting. I have to talk to BC and Valentini anyway, because we have to make our final decision on whether to go further within the following week. So we will have another call anyway. So if I can summarize it, that would be my summary for this. The course in Thessaloniki, is everybody pretty much happy with that? I think this is going to be a regular course. Nikos is going to be obviously there. The Valentini from the office is going to be there. End of August is not ideal, but I hope it's going to be a good option. And I don't think we need to talk much about November at this point in time, even though we planned the spine course in November. And hopefully this will be without any restrictions and we will all be vaccinated and we will all be able to travel free. I'm still a little doubtful, to be honest, that after the summer vacation traveling time, it may actually get worse again. But this is nothing we can foresee now. Program-wise, I know that it's a bit of a problem that we cannot sit together and discuss the programs. The Valencia program for vascular, as I said, has been pretty much the same as it has been organized for Evian. For functional and trauma, I would also relate to the I think it was Bruno, if I remember correctly, the program. I've already updated it a little bit, and also changed some of the TC people. And Niklas Marklund and the functional section has offered their help in adding faculty. I would propose to send out a draft probably second half of May, so that people can look into that. And we'll try to do this via email, and you comment on this. The program for spine, Yashi, has already been finalized, and this will not change much for November. But I think we do have some time. I would plan to do that probably in July or August. Is that okay if we keep on going that way? Nikos?
Just a short comment about, again, the hybrid solution. I fully agree with the rest. Of course, I will go with what, I propose that as a plan B, and only for trainees. And the reason I'm saying that is that because we can, if they are not coming, we are losing this money. If they are participate in the hybrid solution, we can cover the fees, the expenses for the hybrid solution.
Okay.
So it should work.
Okay. So the treasurer is not worried about it because we can charge some money from the trainees for the virtual solution. Okay. I didn't even think of that, but that's obviously a possibility. Very well. Any further comments? Vakis, you are the one who has to carry the heavy load for the future. Any comments from your side?
Well, I'm waiting to see what's going to be left for next year. At this rate, we'll be organizing a course every month to catch up for 20 and 21. Yes, I'll be interested to see by November how many of these courses we have actually managed to do, how many trainees have managed to come, and what we're going to do for the rest of them. Because I think that even if we manage to get the courses done, I think that the number of trainees that will be able to attend or willing to attend would be limited. And we will have quite a bit of leftovers to try and fit into the courses for next year, especially, people who have done 3 courses and they need one more to finish and get their certificates and things like that. So it will be interesting to see what we've managed to do. But I think we need to try and get as much as we can this year and try and mop up next year for whatever's left.
Okay, that sounds good. Valentini, Visi, can we have maybe the 4 of us, Vakis, the 2 of you, and I, maybe a call later this week where we kind of discuss the further options in later afternoon, evening, are also available. And Jane, also you put your hand up.
Yes, just a small comment. If you do the double amount of trainees to one of the big courses, how are you going to arrange the discussion group? Bigger groups or more teachers? So that was the one question. Then I think I will support the idea of going ahead with a course in June, because I think it's also, I think that's a plausible time from a Danish perspective, we are about to losing most of the restrictions because the numbers are really low here. So that was my comment.
Well, the discussion groups are planned to be actually double the size and not more teachers. I know this is not the perfect way to go for it, but I think this is the, to be honest, I don't expect 100% of trainees to come anyway. So at the end, we will be just probably a bit larger than our normal discussion groups. And I think it's better than having double the faculty fly in and then not having many trainees there. So the plan would be to have same number of discussion groups and ideally a larger number of participants.
I mean, depending on the numbers, we could also have, I mean, we had in the past sort of one teacher per discussion group, which again, provided you have enough rooms. So I think that once we know how many people are coming, there are some discussion groups we may be able to cut down to maybe one teacher per group and have two people doing the same discussion group, but with different, you know, the different numbers if there are too many.
Yeah, to be honest, I think this year we have to be flexible and probably adapt at the spot. But I think we all are capable of doing that. And depending on room availability numbers, we will probably even swap something around on site.
Yeah. Well, Nikos has a very good idea. You know, summer in Valencia, you know, you don't need a room.
Yeah.
iPad by the pool.
But then all the skin cancer because of the sunburn is also difficult. No, just kidding. Okay. Thanks so much. Any comments, VC? We wanted to keep this to an hour if possible. So thanks to everybody.
Can I just ask? Does this mean the course is on, and should we buy the plane tickets?
The plan would be that we will have a final discussion with the venue, and the plan would be to send out the final information probably the first week of May. That would be my plan, and to the trainees and all the faculty, and that would be the final go.
Okay.
Our contracts have a cancellation-free policy on the 26th of April, so we have a week ahead of us to make a final decision for June.
Mm-hmm. And please remember that hybrid meetings kill at least two kinds of spirits.
Just my only comment about trainees is that I already contact all of the trainees that are supposed to attend vascular, all the 3 training courses. And to be honest, the majority of them, they were very happy that courses will go on. I received some mails that a few of them that not many trainees that say that they cannot come, but most of them, they were very happy listening that courses, we want to make courses live this year in June. I don't know what will happen when we open the registration and when they have to start looking for flights and things, you know, but the feedback from them were very enthusiastic about the courses.
Yep.
So this is the feeling that I have from now on. I don't know. It's true that I should open the registration as soon as possible to know, you know, how many trainees they will come, because we have booked accommodation, and there, as Valentini said, there is some cancellation policy that we have to decide as soon as possible and to open registration as soon as possible. Even that later on, I'm sure that I will receive cancellation due to flight restriction or country quarantines or something, but most of them, they were happy to listen in that courses. We plan to have courses this year.
If there is something I would like to hear from all of you here together is if it is to your attention that from your country, for business purposes, someone cannot fly to reach Valencia, to reach Spain, if you have something like at your attention that we should know in terms of limitations.
Yes, can I talk?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, you hear me? Yeah. Yes, I want to share the situation, which is a little bit different now in Russia from all Europe. Moscow, and all Russia is still open. We don't have any quarantine. All restaurants is open. All the nightclubs is open. All the scientific events is okay. We only have a restriction for 50% of the people. For example, we're going to do the big meetings in June for Russian spinal surgery and for Russian neurosurgeons. It's limited only for the 50% of the people, but I can cross the border. For example, for me, it's impossible to cross the border and I found out because last time Carlo Schaller needs to come to Russia. We invite him like a visiting professor. It was also no chance to cross the border. So for us to go to Europe now and I think in the future, it will be very difficult. But still, you have to understand that the things is very different from Europe. We don't have no lockdown. We have nothing. Everything is going rather smooth. And I don't know, it's because of vaccination or because of some other reasons. We have a little bit better situation now. Maybe in some short future, in 1 month or 2 months, will be the same. That's all I want to say. Yes.
No, it's hard to predict, and I'm afraid some countries will probably fall out. I agree.
I know.
And this will, but the feedback I get from trainees and also, for example, from Austria, that everybody's very eager to go. They're willing to go, and for example, for Austria, even now, if I would be quarantined and my trainees as well, they could apply for work quarantine, meaning that they would only be allowed to go to the hospital and home, which is actually what we do all the time anyway, because we can't go anywhere else. So even though if we would be quarantined, which is hopefully not going to be the case end of June, this would not be that much of a problem as like in some countries where you have to stay in a hotel room for 2 weeks or something like that. So and this is what I hear from some countries, that it's also not as problematic. But I agree with the comments to have the information as soon as possible. We will talk, Vakis, Visi, Valentini and I will talk this week to finalize everything before the 26th of April. And we will send out the information as soon as possible so that everybody has a final go as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Marcel.
If I may, yeah, I'm just to clarify, in the UK, the regulations are very difficult. So if the course will be organized now, then probably none of us will be able to come, mainly because of the restrictions when you have to, when you return back to the UK. So at this stage, we are obliged to have 10 days of strict isolation at home without being able to go to walk even a dog. Yesterday, I just came from abroad, so now I'm stuck at home. I'm able to do some clinics from home, but all the operations had to be cancelled. And if the same persists in June, and hopefully not, but if it will be the same situation in June, then probably none of the 20 trainees from the UK will be able to come. And this is despite us having vaccination, despite us having negative tests. This is a very strict rule of self-isolating, quarantine at home for 10 days. In addition to this, you have to pay for tests, which is like £200 on day 8, and another test on day 8, on second day and 8th day after return to the UK. So it's really, really difficult. And we hope that things will change, but at this stage, it will be impossible for us to come.
Very difficult to predict. Even though, as I said, I'm not in favor of a hybrid solution, maybe it would be a way to go on short notice for those countries like Russia, for example, or the UK, and see where this goes. Okay, Nikolai.
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to say that this does not go for all countries in EU. For example, in Bulgaria, and I'm sure also in other countries, once you go back, you're quarantined, but with a negative PCR, you can practically cancel the quarantine the first 3 days of your return. So there are countries where, despite that you are quarantined, this will not be an issue when you come back. And for most of our personnel, the PCR is free in the hospital. So whether you're traveling or not, you can do the PCR. One more thing I wanted to personally ask Claudius if you can arrange a meeting between me, you, Vizi, and Pablo, because I see Pablo, because we have to discuss the endovascular simulation group. Obviously, they will have a larger number of trainees, so we have to see how we organize it. It's not a topic of this meeting, but I just wanted to remind if we can do it together in Zoom and see how we organize the things. Thank you.
We will do. Okay. I don't see everybody, but so if everybody's happy with this, I thank you all for joining in. Very difficult times. I know that we are taking some risk, but I think it's worth it. And I really hope to see you all in person. And I'll not get close to any of you. I promise we'll stay apart, 2 meters apart, and not drink or whatever. Okay, so I hope it's gonna work out, and we'll keep you updated as soon as we have made a decision, depending on the financials and so forth. Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Any other comments?
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.